My name is Lily, and I'm one of the students in the CNL program at UMass. How are you?
I'm good. My name's Mike, and I am coming here to get a general physical.
Okay, Mike. How old are you?
I'm 27 years old.
Okay. And Mike, how would you classify yourself in terms of gender?
I am a male. Um,
And what about ethnicity?
Ethnicity, white Caucasian.
Okay, great. So, Mike, you said you're coming here for a general physical today. Um, did you come by yourself? Do you drive?
I came by myself. I drove, um, and had no significant issues on my way here.
Okay, so I'm just questioning about your reliability, your orientation. The fact that you got here to this visit today shows to me that you're appropriately oriented. You've been able to make it to a visit without any difficulty. And besides, so here for a general physical, when's the last time you were seen by a physician or practitioner?
3 years ago.
Okay, and do you normally see people if you have any issues? Is 3 years kind of your time frame that you would normally see someone in?
I used to see people a lot more back when I was in college, but now that I'm getting older, I find it a lot harder to get to the doctors. But if I have a problem, I definitely seek medical attention right away.
Okay, great. And would you describe yourself as a healthy person, generally speaking?
Very healthy and active.
Okay. When you say active, are you exercising? Are you an outdoors kind of guy?
I exercise routinely, going to the gym with my fiance, along with uh, making sure that I go out and go for long walks with the dogs.
Great. And how about any habits like smoking, drinking? Do you participate in any drug use at all?
Just social drinking, but I've never smoked before.
Okay. Have you ever had a trouble with alcohol before?
I have not.
Okay, great. And how about stress level? Do you feel like you're generally pretty stressed out? Do you feel like you cope well with stressors in your life?
I have a very stressful job, but I seem to be doing pretty well with it.
What do you do for work?
I am also a nurse.
You're a nurse. What a
Yeah.
coincidence. So you feel how do you cope with the stressors of being a nurse?
With all that exercise and going out for walks.
Great. So you really just kind of put that out there in physical activity.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So the next step of this interview is going to be some past medical history questions, and you can interrupt me, stop me, add things in if I miss things. I'm just going to start with whether or not you have any allergies to medications or anything in the environment.
Not that I'm aware of, although sulfur drugs do make me feel a little upset. My stomach feels a little upset after taking them. But generally speaking, I would classify myself as having no allergies.
Okay, and do you take any medications regularly on a daily basis? Any prescriptions?
Just a multivitamin.
Just a multivitamin. Okay. And how about any childhood illnesses? Chickenpox, anything like that?
I'm the youngest of three boys, so I definitely had chickenpox.
Okay.
But otherwise, I was a generally healthy young boy.
Okay. How about immunizations? Are you up to date on everything that's required for work, things like that?
They're sticklers about it, so I'm definitely up to date.
Okay, excellent. Any trouble with chronic illness at all? Breathing?
None whatsoever. No.
Okay. And have you ever been hospitalized or had surgery before?
I have had neither. I've had my tonsils taken out. Does that count?
That does. That's a surgery. And what year was that?
In 1993.
Okay, great. And any other accidents or trauma, any broken bones, anything that brought you to an emergency room at all in your past?
I broke my right leg skiing back when I was 7 years old, but otherwise, absolutely nothing else.
Okay, great. I'm just taking some notes so that I can put everything in the computer later.
Absolutely.
If you happen to see me writing. So the next thing is your family history. I'd like to start with your mother's mother, so your grandmother on your mother's side, and tell me what you know about them in terms of their age, living status, and general health status. I'm just going to be computing a genogram to keep in your chart.
Okay. Um, my grandmother is still living. She is 82 years old, and as far as I know, hasn't had any big medical problems such as diabetes or hypertension or anything along those lines.
Okay, and her husband, so your grandfather on your mother's side.
Grandfather passed away from colon cancer 15 years ago, but was a heavy smoker at the same time. So
Okay.
they contributed a lot of it from um, smoking.
Okay, and on your father's side, your grandmother on your father's side.
My grandmother on my father's side had congestive heart failure along with diabetes, and my grandfather on my father's side is currently still living, 85 years old, generally speaking, healthy.
Okay, and how about your parents? Are your parents in good health?
My parents are in pretty good health. They suffer from hypertension, but they both do. Um, also, uh, my mother has high cholesterol, and that's it.
Okay, and any siblings? You said you're the youngest of three boys.
I'm the youngest of three boys. Um, my two older brothers are very healthy. They have
Okay,
no health issues.
great. So, anything else in family history that you can think of? I think that pretty much sums everything up.
It
Anything
does.
we're missing? Okay.
Unless
So,
dogs count.
so let's move on to your psychosocial kind of assessment here. Things that you have at home for family support. You seem to have a fairly good family and standing. Do you have friends that you can count on for social support, psychosocial support?
Although they don't live immediately or near me, I definitely have a lot of friends that I can contact if I need to.
Okay.
I would say my strongest support system is my fiance, and she definitely keeps me in line.
Okay. And so do you two live together?
We do.
And are you having any financial conundrums at all, or is your living situation kind of status quo?
Thankfully, we're not having any issues financially or health wise.
Great.
So
So you mentioned earlier you're a nurse. You talked about kind of the stresses of that, but coping with that well. And you mentioned a number of times the fiance. Are you sexually active?
we are.
And any issues with that at all?
No issues.
Excellent. So actually, the interview is almost pretty much over. We're just going to talk top to bottom, from head to toe, about each kind of body system before we go ahead and go on with a physical assessment after this. So again, interrupt me, stop me, if you think of anything that maybe we would need to mention. Let's start generally with fatigue and kind of any difficulty sleeping at all.
No difficulty sleeping. We have everything set up so that I can sleep well during the days because I work night shift.
You work night shift as a nurse. Okay. And how about any issues with skin at all?
No issues. No rashes. No areas of concern at all.
Okay. Any trouble with your eyesight? Do you wear glasses?
I wear glasses every once in a while because my eyes get tired looking at the computers, but generally speaking, I don't need them in everyday use.
Okay, great. And how about ears? Trouble hearing?
None.
Mouth? Any trouble swallowing? Any trouble with your dentition? Do you have a lot of cavities at all?
I used to have a lot of cavities. I ate a lot of candy growing up,
When you were a kid?
but yeah, but I haven't had a cavity for a long time now.
Great, great. So general dentition is good. How about let's see, we mentioned ears. Any trouble breathing at all? Cough, shortness of breath, difficulty laying down,
None at
walking
all.
upstairs. You mentioned you're pretty active.
Yeah.
Okay, and cardiovascular, so your heart, any feelings of palpitations at all working overnight with all that caffeine? Any issues there?
I haven't had any yet. My coworkers make some pretty weak coffee, unfortunately.
Mm.
So
How about your belly? Any trouble with digestion at all? Trouble in the bathroom with your bowels? Anything like that?
nope, I seem to be quite regular and don't
Very
seem to
good.
have any issues.
Very good. And how about urination, the other end of the bathroom?
Nope,
No trouble with frequency or waking up, anything like that?
nope. I sleep
Excellent.
through the night.
So with your active lifestyle, musculoskeletally pretty intact, no trouble with your joints or any muscles, tension, anything like that?
Um, occasional little bit of stress in my shoulders, but otherwise I seem to be quite healthy.
Great. And so finally, just to kind of wrap things up, we talked a little bit about your stressors and your living situation. Any trouble about feeling depressed at all, feeling unhappy, or do you generally feel kind of like psychosocially or intact and feeling well?
I seem to feel great. I love the winter time, so I love being outside and snowshoeing
Good.
and such.
Good. And you mentioned you had a visit about 3 years ago. Any labs that anyone's routinely checking on you, or anything that you can think of really that we haven't talked about?
No labs that anyone's routinely checking on me. However, I would like to get a solid foundation of lab work, just to make sure that everything seems good. It
Okay.
has been a while.
Okay. So we'll make sure to do that today. And other than that, is there anything else that you can think of that we've missed that you want to talk about that we need to touch on at all
No, I just
before we
came.
get started with the physical exam?
I decided to come here, so that I could set up a solid primary care. Um,
It's time.
it is time. I'm getting a lot older, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right, at the old age of 27.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, it sounds great. So we will go ahead and I'll meet you in the exam room and we can get your physical done and get your lab work off and we'll get you out of here.
This is the smoothest visit ever. Thank you.
You're so welcome.